So in this lecture we are going to use this system of login attempt, and we can use this system to give access only to those who has the session of user ID, means who make a successful login attempt. So in this file of functions.php, I'm gonna add here one new function, and I'm gonna call this function to be login. And in this function we are just going to add one if condition, and we are going to say that if is set the session message. So we are going to track this user ID session message, so I'm gonna pass this one in the function, and this session message is equal to the found account, this function extracting the ID column. So I'm gonna pass this session message of user ID right here. So I'm gonna say that if this session message is set, then you should return true. So if this function execute, it means that the login is successful. Now I'm gonna add one more function right here, and I'm gonna call this function to be confirm underscore login. And inside this function we are going to check whether this function has the true value or not. You can make it into one function, but I will prefer to make it in two separate functions. So I'm gonna say that one if condition, I'm gonna say that if this function of login is not equal to true by adding the not operator. So if I add nothing here, just the login, then it means that we are checking it for true. So I'm going to say here, if this login is not true, means if the user ID is not set, so it's gonna make this login to be false. If the login function is not set, means if the session ID is not set, then we are going to pass the statements right here, and we are going to redirect our user to the page of login.php. So I'm saying here, if this login has the ID from the session message of this function of found account, this ID, then you should return true. So on the next function, I'm saying if this function doesn't have the ID of true, then you send all the user to the page of login.php, means restrict the access. So I'm gonna save this one. Now I can add this function of confirm login on the page on which I want to restrict. So I'm gonna restrict this page of dashboard.php. So all I have to do, I have to call this function right here. So I'm gonna add one PHP scope, and inside this PHP scope I'm gonna call this function of confirm login. Now saving this one. Now as we are already logged in, so I'm gonna copy the link from here, closing this whole tab, so our session is destroyed. Now saving this file, also this functions one. Now opening my browser, opening the file of dashboard.php. Now you can see we instantly redirected to the login page because we are not logged in. It means that this function got the session not true. So this one make this function of confirm login to redirect us to the login.php. So we didn't set our session here. It means that we got the false value here. Then this false value make this function of confirm login to redirect us to the login.php file. Now in case if you want to make it to show the error message as well, you can add the session message of error here, and you can say that login required. Saving this one. If I refresh this page, nothing here. If I go to the page of dashboard.php, you can see we got the session message from this function of login required, and we are on the page of login.php. Now if I give it my username to be correct one Jazib, password to be correct one to be Akram, login. You can see we are on the page of dashboard.php and here is the message of welcome Jazib. Now in case if you want to restrict some more pages, you can just add the function call of this confirm login on the page who you want to be in the protection. So I'm gonna copy this whole statement of confirm login function and I'm gonna first make this add new post page to be restricted. So saving this one, if I close this window and open my browser again, if I go to add new post page, you can see login required. So let's also add the same function on our file of admins.php. We don't have to add the restriction of blog file because it's the public one. Let's add this one to be on the categories. Then we can add the file on our comments.php, adding the confirm login function here as well. Then we can add this one on the edit post and delete post as well. So if you want to just restrict your page, just add this function call of confirm login. Make sure you also include the functions file on that file as well. Saving this one. If I try to go into the page of dashboard, you can see I'm redirected to the page of login.php. If I go to add new post, you can see login required. I'm redirected to the page of login.php. If I go to the page of comments.php, you can see I'm still required to log in. Now adding my name and password, login, dashboard.php. Now I can easily go in any of the page I want. So I can go into add new post.php. I can go into comments.php because my session ID is set by this page of login.php, and here we are checking whether the session ID is set or not. So if the session ID is set, when we don't going to have any problem while checking the requested and protected pages. Now the next lecture will be about the logout page.